Hello FPL managers and welcome back for another video. My name's Jack and today we're talking about the buy hold sell for double Gameweek 22, especially since most of the FA Cup fixtures have been played so far, which does inform us of better transfer options and potential teams that are blanking across the next few game weeks. If you guys are liking the FPL videos, drop a like and subscribe as it really does help out the channel, and click that notification bell as well to stay up to date with all of the future FPL videos coming your guys' way. And with that being said, let's jump into the video. So in today's video, I'm going to look over 3 buy, 3 hold and 3 sell options to assist you guys with your transfer planning for the upcoming game week. Let's first of all take a look at some buy options. There is a couple of fairly obvious picks here. The first one being Bruno Fernandes. He is already the most transferred in player coming into double Gameweek 22, and it definitely is with good reason, as obviously Manchester United have the best couple of fixtures out of any team this game week, as they've got the double game week of Crystal Palace and Leeds both at home. Personally, I am a massive fan of Fernandes, as his underlying numbers and goal and assist output has dramatically increased since Game Week 17, and his ownership has risen a decent amount. Still a fairly low owned player though, but just an 8.7% ownership, so he could definitely be a great differential to have in the team, which could see your rank rise quite a bit. Also at 9.9 is a great price. If you've already got a premium midfielder in your team, whether that's De Bruyne or Salah, you can easily just drop them down to Fernandes at 9.9, still have that somewhat premium slot in midfield taken up by Fernandes, and a good player worthwhile having in the sides for at least game weeks 22, 23 and 24 before Manchester United likely blank in game weeks 25 and 28, as I do think going for Fernandes on a throw punt could definitely be worthwhile, especially since if you leave the money in the bank to go from Fernandes up to another one of those premium options, whether that's back to Salah, back to De Bruyne, depending on how their fixtures play out, definitely keep that money in the bank to make that move possible, as I would see this being the most favourable way to plan your transfers in terms of having that premium midfielder in your team and optimising the best fixtures for your premium midfielder. So I do really like Fernandes here. Just quickly looking at some of his stats this season, as you can see, 4 goals, 5 assists, the majority of which have come since Game Week 17. He also does have the highest expected assist figure from Game Week 17 until now, as he's been creating lots of chances for his Manchester United teammates. His XA since Game Week 17 is actually over 3, which is extremely high, much higher than any other player in the Premier League in this period of time. His XG for the season is just over 3, so not massive in terms of expected goals figures, but its XA is fairly high with 6.82, and of course he's projected to score very well in double game week 22 with over 10 points predicted by Fantasy Football Fix, which is one of the highest predicted points out of any player for this double game week. Martin Odegaard as well, another popular transfer in to teams by lots of managers. His ownership has skyrocketed about 10% across the last couple of game weeks, as he's really seen a shift in popularity towards him over the likes of those other Arsenal midfielders, whether that's Saka or Martinelli as well. And I do prefer having Odegaard in the teams as well. I prefer Odegaard in my team, as currently I do have him over the likes of Saka and Martinelli, as Odegaard does have the highest expected score involvements between those 3 players, and of course he's been an absolutely excellent form as of late, and I would recommend having at least a double up, if not a triple up of Arsenal for their double game week in Game Week 22, and then you can potentially look to move some of those players out as you do approach Game Week 28, where Arsenal do have a decent chance of blanking, according to Ben Crellin on Twitter. So I would look to move out maybe 1 or 2 of those Arsenal assets ahead of Game Week 28, but for now I do really like them as options, and Odegaard is probably the best Arsenal player to have in your team, so if you were to pick one Arsenal player, I would recommend going for Odegaard here. Then looking at Riyad Mahrez, here's another great option to consider for the squads, a much more differential pick with just a 7.6% ownership, but I would recommend you guys considering Riyad Mahrez for the teams, as he could be a great rank riser to have in the squads at just 7.7 million in the midfield, a great mid-price midfielder that's been getting consistent starts for Manchester City and getting good consistent points as well, as he's been an excellent touch for them, and hopefully can continue to start in the future, as of course Man City do have that double in Game Week 23, where it definitely could be worthwhile having Mahrez in the team, as he could be a great way to increase your rank, as not too many people have him in the sides right now. And he is expected to score extremely well in double game week 23 for Manchester City. Plus, Man City shouldn't have too many blank game weeks from now all the way up until game week 28, but they probably are likely to blank in game week 28. But until then, I would recommend having Mahrez in the team as a great differential. If you have the funds available or you are looking for another nice midfielder pick, I would recommend Riyad Mahrez as a decent option to buy. Obviously, this week, not the easiest fixture with Tottenham away, whether it's this week or next week, I would look at him as a decent decent option to have in midfield, as despite having a tricky fixture of Tottenham away this week, he still can produce points just considering how good a form he's been in. And of course, you'd want him, if you want to get on him now, you can see a decent or value increase in Mahrez over this time, as I'm sure lots of managers will flock to get him in before Man City's double game week next week. Next up, let's have a look at 3 hold options. These are 3 players that have been heavily transferred out by managers so far this week, but I would recommend you guys holding on to them as they do have good points potential across the next few game weeks. The first one here is William Saliba, and he's actually been quite heavily transferred out relative to a couple of other players in FPL right now, and it is quite surprising to see, especially since Arsenal do double in game weeks 23, and I think Saliba should be all good to go for this double game week, so I don't really see why anyone will look to get rid of him from the team. As I said before, I would look to have at least a double up on Arsenal for this double game week. Plus, they still have some good fixtures coming up as well. They don't really look to miss any fixtures up until blank game week 28 for them, where they're most likely going to miss a match. So from now until then, I would look to have Arsenal assets in the team, especially defensive assets, as their defense has been very strong this season. And of course, Saliba is one of the highest scoring defensive assets this campaign. Plus, with Everton away in game week 22, which is a great fixture to have Arsenal players in the team, now is definitely not the right time to get rid of him. So if you are thinking about getting rid of William Saliba, I probably would look to save that transfer, even if it is for another Arsenal defender, because I just don't think that transfer will be worth it at this point in time if you do value a transfer at 4 points, even if you're not taking a hit. Looking at Saliba's stats though, 9 clean sheets. He's also got 2 goals and 1 assist, so he definitely can provide great threat from corners, as he's shown in the past. He does have a very high expected clean sheet stat of 9.31, and not too bad in terms of expected assist figures of 0.98 as well, so definitely a good player to consider in the teams. And if you've got him in the teams, I wouldn't look to get rid of him right now. He also does have a pretty good predicted points for game week 22, which is sitting around 5, as he does have that good fixture against Everton away. Kevin De Bruyne is the other one as well. He's also a fairly popular player that's been transferred out of the teams. I don't really see the reason for this, as his ownership has dropped quite a bit across the last few days, but I would recommend holding on to this Man City asset since he does have that double in game week 23. If you do have him in the team right now and you're not on a wild card, I don't really see the reason to get him out unless you want to drop him down to Fernandes just for this week, then switch it back to De Bruyne the week after. That'd probably be the only reason I'd look to get rid of De Bruyne from this team, from your team. But if you're not making that transfer for De Bruyne, I'd probably hold off making that move, as the only player right now I look to get in for De Bruyne is Fernandes, just for that 1 week punt for his double, then swapping back to De Bruyne after that, as De Bruyne does have very good underlying numbers in terms of expected assists. He does have one of the highest expected assists across the last 5 games for Manchester City as well. Plus, he has recorded 12 assists on the season, so he's proven to provide assists fairly readily, and he has found a bit more form recently as well in his last 2 to 3 games, as he was a bit slow starting from game week 17, but in the last 2 to 3 weeks he has definitely found some form back, and he is expected to score very well across the next 6 game weeks by Fantasy Football Fix as well. So definitely one of my favourite premium midfield options to have in the squads right now. And Ben White, another Arsenal defensive asset that has been transferred up by managers. Definitely don't see the reasoning on Ben White, as a 4.7 he is one of the cheapest starting Arsenal defender assets in FPL right now, and I do recommend having him in the team, of course for the same reason as Saliba, as Arsenal do have the double coming up, which I would expect them to perform fairly well in from a defensive standpoint, hopefully recording at least 1 clean sheet across this double. Plus, Ben White can get forward occasionally and provide some attacking returns, as he has recorded 2 assists this season, which has been accompanied by his very high 10 clean sheets, and that's the main reason you want to have Ben White in the team. And with Everton away as the next fixture, plus Brentford at home as a part of a double game week in 23, it's definitely worthwhile having this Arsenal defender in your team. Let's have a look at these sell options now. These are 3 fairly heavily transferred out players that I do recommend you guys continuing to transfer out of the squads, or recommending this is a good transfer out to make essentially. The first one here is João Cancelo. This is obviously not too surprising, as the recent news has come out about a potential move to Bayern Munich, or an imminent move to Bayern Munich for João Cancelo, which of course will mean he's not going to be a good FPL asset, he's not going to be playing anymore. Even if you do have him in the team still, I look to get him out fairly quickly, as his price is likely to decrease fairly soon, as lots of managers already have transferred him out anyway, because he wasn't getting starts with Manchester City before this transfer move. So for me, definitely a player that you'd be looking to get rid of fairly soon before his price decreases, as you do definitely want to prioritize team value. Let's quickly move on though. Mo Salah, another player that's been frustrating a lot of managers that have kept the faith in him since Gameweek 17. We did transfer him out of our team about 3 to 4 weeks ago now, and it has been a move that's paid off for us, as Mo Salah just isn't getting the service that he was getting earlier on in the season. His XG and XA figures have dropped dramatically since Gameweek 17, and I do recommend transferring out Mo Salah, as nearly paying £13 million for a player that's just not recording goals and assists right now is just not worth it, and especially considering De Bruyne and Fernandes are two good premium midfielder options that you can easily replace Mo Salah with, that have good double game weeks coming up and great projected points coming up as well, and two players that have been in better touch than Mo Salah recently. So for me, Mo Salah, not worth the money. I think now is when you swing the axe, look to get in Fernandes or De Bruyne. If Liverpool do have a double game week announced in the future, then of course you can get Salah back in at that point in time, but I would recommend playing the double game weeks in the near future and looking to target those, and then maybe switching back to Mo Salah if you can find form and if Liverpool do have a double game week confirmed. And the third one here is Alexander Mitrovic. Just considering how many other good forward options there are in FPL right now, whether that's Ivan Toney, a little bit more expensive, or a couple of other picks, whether you want to go for Weghorst as well, he could be a great differential in the forward line if he continues to get starts for Manchester United with their double game week coming up. Definitely a differential worth considering. But for me, if you don't have Toney in the team and you've got Mitrovic in the team, going to Toney could definitely be the right option, as Toney does have better underlying numbers. Despite Mitrovic's stats as being pretty good, I like Toney's fixtures more than Mitrovic's as well. So for that reason, I do think Mitrovic, a good chance to get him out of the side now, as his price is going to be decreasing fairly shortly as more managers look to move him on. And of course, with Chelsea away in Gameweek 22, I don't fancy him for massive returns in this fixture. So for me, I will look to get in Ivan Toney, who's got a very favourable fixture of Southampton coming up. Plus, Fulham also do have the potential to blank. They've got roughly a 50% chance to blank in Gameweek 28 as well, so that is definitely something to look out for. Obviously, Brentford do have blanks coming up, but I just think Toney is a better FPL asset than Mitrovic right now. So for that reason, I would look also to remove Mitrovic from the team, even if it's for Weghorst as well as a great differential punt. Thanks for watching today's buy, hold, sell for double game week 22. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it informative and useful. If you did, drop a like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel a lot, pushes it out to more people. And if you guys do want to stay up to date with more FPL videos, click the notification bell. There's going to be lots more FPL content coming your guys' way shortly. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.